You see, sometimes between Friday evening and Saturday morning, US time, American time, give and take, somewhere in between, something massive will happen. Why? Because that will be the end of Donald Trump's mini or micro unilateral ceasefire that he declared, you know, vis-a-vis the Iranians. Ostensibly, according to him, because the Iranians have agreed to negotiate with him over this war. Now there's a problem. And the problem is that while Donald Trump insists that number one, the Iranians are desperate to negotiate with him. Number two, the Iranians are in fact negotiating with him. In fact, he claimed that as a kind of, as a kind of gift of appeasement, the Iranians sent him 10 big boats, according to him, of crude oil. He is insisting on his side that the Iranians are currently negotiating with him, and because of that, he has given them a 5-day truce, a 5-day unilateral ceasefire that is supposed to end on Friday evening. However, in the converse, the Iranians are insisting that number one, they are not negotiating with him. Number two, they are not going to negotiate with him. Number three, they are insisting that if and when the war ends, it will end on their terms and not on the terms of Trump and the Americans. And in fact, while the Americans have essentially submitted a 15-point list of demands, the Iranians have also have also released to the media a 6-point list of demands. There's no need analyzing the items in the list to you. The lists are essentially diametrically opposite. There's absolutely no meeting point. Complete parallel lines. There is no way either of the two parties can meet in the middle. So there's no point, analyzing, the bits and pieces for you. Now the question is, why Friday evening come Saturday morning? It is because, go and check very well. Every time, particularly President Trump wants to do any military attack on any country, he always prefers that timeline between Friday evenings and Saturday mornings to start the wars. Why? It is because President Trump is a personal and corporate fan, a huge fan of the stock market, of the stock fixtures. Now, for those who are conversant with the global and international stock markets, the New York Stock Exchange, the Singaporean Stock Exchange, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and all those international stock markets, you will know that on Friday evenings, the markets essentially close, only to resume on Monday mornings. Usually, when President Trump does military attacks, what immediately happens is that the stock markets essentially crash, and a lot of money, usually to the tune of trillions of dollars, is sucked out of the stock exchange in terms of losses. To avert that loss, to avert that stock exchange loss, to ensure that President Trump, who is himself a very avid trader on the stock exchange, both on the conventional stock market and on the crypto stock market, he wants to ensure that himself, his cronies, his business friends, his associates do not lose money. He ensures that when he does his attacks, he does them as far away from the active, currently trading stock market as possible. That is why Friday evenings come Saturday mornings are always favorite periods for him to start his attacks, with the hope that before Monday morning, he will be done with the attack, and whatever deleterious, whatever economically deleterious consequence, can come, as it can come from it. And then by Monday morning, he will have eaten his cake and had it. Eating his cake in the sense that he will have done the attack he wants to do and gain whatever he wants to gain from it. For example, the way he captured the former president of Venezuela in person of Nicolas Maduro, and at the same time, it will ensure that there is virtually no losses on the stock market before Monday morning. The difference, you will notice that when he did the operation of President Maduro, the attack was essentially launched again on a Friday evening come Saturday morning. In the US, Friday evening. In Nigeria, for example, Saturday morning. If you remember too, February 28th, when he did the attack, on Iran and essentially launched by killing the supreme leader of Iran. You will remember that in Nigerian time, it was circa 10 a.m., 10:30 Nigerian time, which was already, at that time, the stock markets in America were essentially closed. So it worked for Venezuela. In fact, all of what he did in Venezuela did not last up to 2 hours. By Monday morning, the coast was clear. President Maduro was in captivity. Every other leader in America was in Venezuela was essentially doing President Trump's bidding. And far from Monday morning, all the economic consequences were gone, and it was as if nothing happened. He has eaten his cake and had it. However, in the case of Iran, the opposite was what obtained. He was expecting a Venezuela scenario: decapitate the leadership, kill the supreme leader, and every other leader in Iran essentially bows to him and kowtows to him. Unfortunately, it was the reverse that happened. By Monday morning, instead of calm on the stock markets, the Iranians had actually dialed up, the altitude of fighting, of revenge, of counterattacks, of firing missiles and drones. And on Monday morning, the stock markets woke up completely against President Trump's wish. And then everything dialed up from then. And since then, it has been not just a military battle on the ground, but also a massive battle on the stock markets and on the oil futures. The price of oil, the price of crude, price of gas, price of Brent, price of Urals, price of sweet crude and all of that. So it worked in Venezuela. It did not work in Iran. So on this Friday come Saturday, President Trump will do either of two things. If he discovers that the coast is not clear for him to do a military attack against Iran, particularly going for the Strait of Hormuz and associated islands, he will most likely do is a 1-month ceasefire and announce it at that time. However, if he believes that he can take the military risk and actually do the attack and succeed, he will most likely go for an attack. So the moment you are going to sleep on Friday night in Nigeria, come Saturday morning, don't go very far. Something will most likely happen either way. However, in whatever direction it happens, the populations of Israel and the populations of Iran, the people of Israel and Iran, the citizens of Israel and Iran will be very pivotal to whatever happens eventually as a consequence of whatever President Trump wants to do, especially if he decides to go to war essentially for the Strait of Hormuz. The implications vis-a-vis the citizens of both countries is what I'm going to be discussing in the next video. Don't miss it. It is very important and you will enjoy it. It's going to be very interesting. See you in the next video. Again, don't forget to like, to share, to follow, to broadcast, to subscribe, and please comment, and ask your questions, and I'll gladly answer them. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.